Hello, everybody. Yes, here I am. Finally. Oh my God. That is 50 minutes after I was supposed to be live. So, hello to When the Shift Hits the Fan. This is day one of my launch, the launch of my latest book, Shift Calling, a practical guide to accelerate your spiritual growth. Wow, what a journey to get to this day. So, whew, I need to breathe because we spent the last 50 minutes. I was going to go live 50 minutes ago, and we spent the last 50 minutes figuring out the technology here. And it's almost brought me to tears. So I want to use this material to talk about when the shift hits the fan. So why when the shift hits the fan? Why did I pick that as my? It's going to be a launch that I do every weekday for a week from today till the 7th of November, which is next Tuesday. Each time a different topic connected to my book. And I'm going to bust some serious myths that come out of traditional spiritual teachings. And so I am going to do that, and I'll tell you later on when it's all happening. So first of all, I'm going to make the comments here. So this is my first time using StreamYard. So be patient with me. So here we are, when the shift hits the fan. So we are living in intense times, and that has hit the fan ecologically, politically, financially, economically, socially. I mean, it's just one thing after another. And I'll tell you, I'm an Israeli. I was born Israeli. And so the conflict in the Middle East is pretty horrendous. Maybe that will be for another time for me, but and maybe I'll bring it in here. We'll see what inspiration it comes through me. But the shift has hit the fan. And what we need is a shift, which is why I call my book Shift Calling. And the shift that we need is a spiritual shift. You see, we need to perceive ourselves as more than just human beings. That has taken us as far as we can go. We need to see ourselves as spiritual beings, great beings of great consciousness. I know it's hard to believe with how we fight, maybe with our friends or spouses or what's going on in the world, but we are beings of great consciousness, great capacity for very elevated consciousness. This is the experiment on planet Earth. Can we come into incarnation and still stay the great beings of consciousness that we are? So here it is. You know, when God, there's an expression God, and it can be something else for you, source or light, divine consciousness. But there's a saying that when God wants us to, to evolve, God whispers in our ear. And if we don't listen, then it gets worse and the conditions continue to deteriorate. And then we hear another demand, but now it's louder. It's louder. The circumstances around us tell us there's something that we need to change. And so the shift has hit the fan because the universe, source, divine consciousness, God, at this point is screaming and telling us we have to make a shift. And so, how do we each make a shift on our own that can contribute to the larger shift? Because we're each one human being, we have our own problems and daily concerns, and there's wars raging in different places in the world. And there's ecological disasters that have happened in the last few months and that just keep happening. So here's the shift that we need to do. If you see yourself as a spiritual being, a light being, and you realize that you are part of the consciousness of humanity. We see ourselves as individuals, but we also share the consciousness of humanity like an ocean. And in that consciousness, which is many, many drops, you and me, there is a shared consciousness with shared perceptions of ourselves, cultural perceptions, familial perceptions about what it means to be human. Well, one of the parts in my book is called Shifting Your Perception of Yourself. So if you expand your perception of yourself and see yourself as a spiritual being, as an enlightened, conscious human being, and if you see yourself as a portal between the world, between the spiritual world and the material world, then you can create the world that you live in. You can imagine something and bring it into being. You can create it by yourself or with a team, with friends, family. You can dream something up and you can manifest it. We take that for granted, but this is magical power that we each have to be a portal between the worlds. And so this is the time now more than any other time when the shift hits the fan that we need to show up even more, raise our consciousness, expand our consciousness, and really tap into and embody the enlightened beings that we are and live our lives from that place. So, for example, I'll give you an example. So my mom, who passed away last year, was an alcoholic. And in the severe times of when she drank, nothing worked in her world, right? She'd be on the floor, drunk. There was no food on the table. Her relationship with my dad was not going, everything was collapsing and breaking down. So think of that. Everything is collapsing and breaking down in the world. But if you look at what is the one thing that would make all the difference? Should she work on her relationship? Should she work on her parenting skills? Should she work on her financial issues? The drinking seems to be at the core of all of this, right? So we each have at this time something at the core that if we can shift that, everything else in our life is going to start changing for the better. And it will affect the global ocean of the consciousness of humanity. Because we are a beam of light, a pillar of light in the ocean of human consciousness. And so, whatever is not working in your life right now is proof from the outside, circumstantially, that this is not working, this is not working. But don't say it's because of the circumstances. The circumstances are the gift from the universe reflecting to you that things are not going well, that the shift has hit the fan in your life, and that it's time to shift. And the first place to go is shifting your perception of yourself. You're not a product of circumstances only. You are not a victim of circumstances. They are there in the world, for sure. They are. But you are also a portal between the world, between the spiritual world and the material world. You are a spiritual being and you're a material being. And if you show up from that place, not in order to experience a bit of gratitude, a bit of inner peace, go on a retreat, all of those things are good, but in order to live your daily life from this place, expanded perception of yourself, and tell yourself, okay, the shift has hit the fan. What can I do right now in order to remember that I am more than the circumstances of my life? What can I do to come from this spiritual material unity that resides in me? The spiritual material wholeness that resides in me. And as everything is crumbling around, you start walking in the world and taking actions from that place. And when you do that, things begin to change because you have shifted your perception of yourself. And you are no longer just a human being in a human world reacting to circumstances that have become, unbearable in many, many ways, in many areas of the world, and that are affecting us, even if it's just by seeing them on the news or knowing someone in a region where there is suffering, senseless suffering that could stop right now. We have all the tools we need to not have war anymore. And yet here we are still there, killing each other, destroying each other. So shifting your perception of yourself is the first shift that you need to do. So for example, we each have something our parents told us, or school told us, or society told us, or our gender told us, I'm not good enough. I am not worthy. Expand your perception of yourself. You're not just that. That happened, but you are more. You are an enlightened spiritual being that is made of the substance of light and love. You are pure consciousness. And if you can walk today from that place, I mean, even me saying it, I feel more tall, Walk today, go to the supermarket today, go to the next business meeting you have, meet a friend, your children, whatever you need to do, work and life, from this perception of I am an enlightened being of great consciousness. And I will make choices today from that place. I will make decisions today from this place. And I will take actions today from this place. Try that and see that the universe is going to organize very, very differently for you than if you go around feeling that you're just a human being who is a victim of life circumstances and now of global circumstances. It's as simple as that. And I'm not saying it like magical, woo woo, spiritual, just be happy and it's all going to work out. It is work. It is hard work. It is joyful work. It is vulnerable work. To write my book took a lot of determination. To publish my book takes a lot of vulnerability. To be here live takes a lot of courage. I'm super excited about the book coming out. Super excited. But I was also willing to do the hard work. And I was willing to stand tall and say, I'm going to talk about the things that I think can really make a difference for me and for people I love and for the world that I love, for humanity that I love. To start perceiving ourselves as who we truly are in order to affect change in our life, in our world, humanity, and the planet. So I come to you today feeling vulnerable, feeling courageous, feeling excited and joyful about this book coming out. And I'm going to leave you with that. I invite you to walk today tall and have this mantra: I am an enlightened, conscious human being, or I am an enlightened being of great consciousness, capable to travel between the worlds, to imagine and manifest, to dream and redirect things in the material world, my projects, my relationships. I am powerful. And see how that changes everything in your day. You might even choose to watch something else today when you go on social media or on the news versus to see the things that you've been watching that are draining you. So I want to bless you with that. Take action today. It's all in your hands. You can change your everything in your day to day if you remember that you are an enlightened being of great consciousness. So, if you want to read more about how to shift your perception, different tips of how you can shift yourself into being this great being of consciousness, I talk about it in my book, Shift Calling. I will put the link in the comments so that you can go and purchase your copy. It's the first launch day, so there's both the digital version and the, the printed version are available, and they're available at the lowest price that Amazon allows until Tuesday. End of day Tuesday, the price will go up to regular price of books. So head over to Amazon, look for shiftcalling.com by Anna Gatmon. You'll find the book, get your copy, and I'm going to go live again tomorrow. And we're going to talk about shifting again and what you can do to deal with a unique shift that is calling you at this time in your life, and that maybe is whispering to you and maybe is screaming out loud. Shift, shift, shift. So many blessings, and I'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time, USA. Thank you.